He stood outside the grocery store with just $8 in his pocket, weighing the cost of diapers against milk for his daughter. The chill of the late autumn wind bit through his worn-out jacket, but Mark didn't flinch. He'd gotten used to the cold. What hurt more was the empty space in his fridge at home and the baby food jar he had watered down that morning to make it stretch just a bit longer. Mark had been raising his daughter alone ever since Sarah, his wife, passed away during childbirth. It had been 2 years now, 2 long, lonely, exhausting years. Once an electrician, a back injury at work put him on reduced hours, and soon, no work at all. The government aid helped, but barely. He delivered food at night to make ends meet. It wasn't enough. Nothing ever felt like it was enough. He turned to walk into the store, but something caught his eye. A woman sat on the cold bench just outside the doors, her arms wrapped around 2 toddlers who looked no older than 4. Their jackets were too thin for the Canadian winter coming early this year. The little boy had no gloves, and his tiny fingers clutched a torn stuffed bear. The girl leaned against her mother, her lips chapped and dry, eyes dull like she hadn't eaten in days. Mark felt his chest tighten. He looked at the woman. She wasn't panhandling. She wasn't even asking anyone for help. She just sat there silently, staring at the sidewalk like her mind was somewhere else entirely. Defeated. Something inside Mark cracked. He walked over without thinking. "Ma'am, are you okay?" he asked softly. The woman looked up slowly, eyes tired but kind. "We're just waiting. We'll be fine." She forced a smile, and Mark could tell it was the kind of smile people wear when they're trying to look strong for their children. He sat down beside her. "I've got $8 to my name, and I was about to spend it on milk," he said with a slight laugh, rubbing the back of his neck. "But maybe today we split it." She blinked at him, stunned. He continued. "There's a small diner across the street. Let's get some hot soup for the kids. Maybe we can figure things out together." Her name was Rachel. She was from Manitoba, recently moved to the city after fleeing an abusive relationship. She'd stayed in a shelter for a few weeks, but they were full now. Her savings were gone. She hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. At the diner, they ordered 2 bowls of soup and a single grilled cheese sandwich, cut into 4 pieces for the kids. The steam warmed their faces. Mark watched the kids eat like it was a feast. His own daughter was at daycare, her one small moment of safety in a chaotic world. They talked. They laughed. He learned that Rachel had once been a nurse's assistant and wanted to get back into healthcare. She learned that Mark had built half the homes in the neighborhood before his accident. Before leaving the diner, Mark called someone, a friend from his church group who ran a community help center. "There's someone who needs help more than I do," he said. "Can you meet us?" Within an hour, Rachel and the twins had a warm place to stay for the night. The community center offered her a temporary room and meals for a week. A social worker came by the next morning. They arranged emergency funds, counseling, and even signed her up for a healthcare retraining program. But the story didn't end there. 2 months later, Mark was struggling again. His delivery scooter had broken down, and he had no money to repair it. He debated selling his last good winter coat when he got a knock at the door. It was Rachel. She looked different, stronger, more confident, and holding a thermos of coffee. Behind her was a mechanic in overalls. "You helped me when you had nothing. I never forgot that. I got my first paycheck last week from the clinic, and I know someone who can fix your scooter for free." Mark stared at her in disbelief. "Why would you do that?" Rachel smiled. "Because someone once split their last $8 with me." That moment changed everything, for both of them. In the months that followed, they stayed in touch. Rachel became part of Mark's support system. She brought groceries sometimes, helped with childcare when he had late deliveries. In return, Mark taught her twins how to ride bikes and read bedtime stories when she worked nights at the clinic. Eventually, it stopped being a favor and started feeling like family. And maybe, just maybe, that's what it had always meant to be. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, splitting a bowl of soup, sharing your last few dollars, offering warmth to someone colder than you, can change the entire course of someone's life. In a city where everyone was too busy to notice, 2 struggling hearts saw each other. And together, they found their way home.